Welcome to Medicare School Daily, where we help you understand Medicare, save money, avoid mistakes, and above all else, get the most out of your Medicare benefits. Now, today's topic is understanding the Advantage Plan 12-month trial period. About half of all Americans today that are going on Medicare are choosing an Advantage plan for their Medicare benefits. And they no doubt will hear about the trial period, but there still is a lot of confusion about that. And we don't want you to have a misunderstanding as to how trial periods work. And so that's the purpose of today's lesson. Now, I'm going to teach you about the trial period by posing three different questions. Number one, why is there a trial period? Why is there a trial period? Well, here's why. Medicare Advantage Plan originated back in 2003. And there were some features about Advantage plans that are very attractive, very appealing to people. And so Medicare wanted to make sure that people were aware of all the aspects of the Advantage plan. So the features that are very attractive are the premiums. Advantage plans typically have very low premiums or even zero premiums in most states. So we have very, very attractive premiums. We also have some perks with Advantage plans that are not part of original Medicare. The perks that are thrown in Advantage plans are dental benefits, vision benefits, and sometimes hearing aid benefits, and most of them also throw in some gym membership benefits. So these perks are very, very attractive, all right? But there's also some problems. And those problems are just a couple, actually. Number one problem will be providers. Not every doctor is going to take an Advantage plan. So what you have is you have networks. And these networks are called HMOs and PPOs. And so it's very important that a person is very comfortable knowing that they will have limited providers on their Advantage plan. That's the purpose of the trial period, to make sure your providers are in that network and are going to stay in that network. Another issue that we have beyond providers is pre-certifications, pre-certs. And on the Advantage plan, what happens if the doctor says, you need a knee replacement or a hip replacement or maybe an MRI or a CAT scan or some type of a test or procedure, that procedure has to be approved by the Advantage plan. In other words, has to be pre-certified. Just because the doctor orders it doesn't mean you're going to get that. All right, and so you have to be comfortable with that particular condition, these pre-certifications. If you decide to stay in original Medicare with the supplemental plan, you don't have any pre-certifications. If the doctor says you need a hip replacement, it's medically necessary, you're going to have it done. If there's labs or some kind of a test or a procedure or something, as long as Medicare says it's necessary and your doctor orders that, then it's going to be taken care of, right? So that's a difference. And so Medicare wanted to make sure that people were comfortable with the requirement of pre-certifications. And then lastly, permanent. There is a possibility that you could get on an Advantage plan and you go beyond your trial period, that you could be permanently on the Advantage plan, meaning there's something in your health that has changed to the point where you can never get off of the Advantage plan. And so you have to realize these problems exist with all Advantage plans. And so Medicare knew about this, and they knew that the Advantage companies are going to advertise this, and this is really what they want to talk about. But the reality is we have some problems that you need to be aware of. And so they give you 12 months trial period to make sure that you're comfortable with the issues surrounding your Advantage plan. Now, the second question is this: when does the trial period begin? Now, I'm going to teach about this, but I want to make this very clear, folks. There is only one instance when we know for sure that a person will be guaranteed a trial period. Then after that, the state laws vary, insurance carriers vary. Okay, so these trial periods, hard and fast rule only in one situation. Beyond that, the rules can vary. So let me show you the one where we know for sure we'll always have a trial period. And this is an example. We'll call this John Smith. And we're going to say that John Smith is turning 65 in January of 2021. Okay, he's going to retire. He's going to go on Medicare. Notice A and B. He enrolls in A and B. You have to have A and B to have an Advantage plan. And notice he does all this in January of 2021. And so in this situation, he is guaranteed to have a trial period. He took Medicare at 65. His A and B dates were at his 65th birth month. And so he has a trial period, which means he has 12 months to test drive it, 12 months to try it on for size. Anytime, any reason during his 12 months, which will go all the way until 1/1 of 2022, if he wants to get off his Advantage plan and return to original Medicare, he can do so without any medical underwriting required. Any company he wants to go to on the supplemental side will have to take him because he truly has a 12-month trial period. He took it at 65 and his A and B dates match up. All right. So this is for sure guaranteed trial period. But beyond that, The rules vary from state to state, from insurance company to insurance company. So let me show you a person who did not have a trial period for sure. And we'll say this is his wife, Jane. And again, same birth month. She turned 65 in January of 2021. And what she does is she decides she's not going to retire. She's going to keep working. But here's what she did. She went ahead and enrolled in Medicare Part A only. And she would have been issued a Medicare A only card. And notice what her A date is. It is January 1, 2021. She took A and A only, and then 1 year later, January the next year, she decides to retire and go on Medicare, and that's when she enrolls in B. Now remember, folks, you got to have A and B to have that Advantage plan, but notice her A and B dates are different, and because they're different, because she didn't take the Advantage plan at 65 because she kept working, and now we have a year difference, she absolutely does not have a trial period, which means if she picks up an Advantage plan in January 1st, 2022, from day one, if she ever wants to get off her Advantage plan and return to original Medicare with the supplemental plan, she has to go through underwriting. All right, and so you always have to find out, when does the trial period begin? Does it begin on my A date, or does it begin only when I turn 65? And whatever insurance company that you want to go with, they're going to have specific rules about the trial period. And here's my point. Don't assume that everyone gets a 12-month trial period, because they do not. All right? This is the only one that was guaranteed to have the trial. Beyond that, it's going to vary state to state, insurance company to insurance company. Now that takes us to our third and final question, and that's this. What happens after the trial period ends? So someone that doesn't have a trial period, or they've stayed on the Advantage plan more than 12 months in 1 day, what happens? Now all of a sudden, now we have switching rules that are going to apply, and we have to live with these switching rules. And here they are. Number one, if I'm over my trial period, or I never had a trial period, if I want to move from one Advantage company to another, I can do so, but I can only make that move between October 15th and December 7th, right? And I can only make that move as long as I don't have end-stage renal disease, which is permanent kidney failure. So my trial period is over and I want to change Advantage companies, no problem. As long as I don't have permanent kidney failure, I can do that during October 15th to December 7th open enrollment period, and my plan will go into effect the following January 1. All right? Now the second rule is this. Let's say I have no trial period, or my trial period has expired. I'm on an Advantage plan and would like to switch to a supplemental plan. You can do so. Again, you can only do it during the open enrollment period, but here is the requirement. You must be underwritten, okay? And the underwriter with that insurance company you want to move to must approve you. So you have to be approved. And so what happens if I want to move Advantage to supplemental plan? Now the underwriter is going to look at my health conditions, pre-existing conditions. They're going to ask me 25 health questions. They're going to check all my medications, see what I'm being treated for. And they may even require a statement from my doctor about certain issues, all right? So now to make this move to here, it is not automatic. An underwriter has to approve my case, which means if you have anything going wrong with your health that the underwriter is uncomfortable with, then they can deny you. And then that's why I was saying earlier, now you're on that Advantage plan, possibly permanently, you're never going to be able to get off of that. And folks, things that are just as simple as having diabetes with complications. Your diabetes may be under control, but maybe you're having some retinopathy or neuropathy or some other kind of an issue surrounding your diabetes. Things that would be like rheumatoid arthritis, some carriers will not approve you. Osteoporosis, sometimes they will not approve you. Spinal stenosis. And so there's issues with your health that if they're serious enough where you will never be able to get off of your Advantage plan because you cannot get through medical underwriting. All right? And so we want to be sure that you're clear. Yes, there could be a trial period, but there's also specific rules about the trial periods that you have to live with if indeed you go with an Advantage plan. To learn more, watch the related video or check out our most recent video. Also, be sure you click to subscribe for free and get notified every time we post a new video. To watch our complete Medicare workshop, go to MedicareSchool.com. And finally, when you're ready to compare all your insurance options and get free enrollment help from one of our Medicare School guides, call the number on the screen. See you next time.